Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior. Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that there aren't very many energy programs out there. When I researched all of the various programs recently, there are really only 2 or 3 accredited engineering programs.
I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada originally. I came out here to Indiana Tech to actually go for the energy engineering program because of its uniqueness and its ability to get hands-on with the materials that I'm going to be using in the future.
Well, a few of the things I think that sets Indiana Tech apart is, number one, you have very small classes. You have very close relationships with your professors. When you have a class of 10 people, it's much easier to get to know the professor and get in contact with him than if you have a class of 30, 40, or 50. You're going to have the same professors for the majority of your classes. You're going to have the same classmates for the majority of your classes.
The more practical applications come in all the subsequent energy engineering classes. Heat transfers in a class that right after they're leaving the classroom, and the board is filled with calculus. So in order to understand a lot of these topics, they're going to need to understand the calculus there. Calculus is the study of the rate of change, how fast things change. And depending upon whether it's energy engineering, industrial engineering, or whatever, they're going to need to use that and apply that.
Professor Romary, he stands out to me the most right now because when I first got here, I had to take calculus, Calc 1, Calc 2. And he's one of the professors that teaches it. And he just really was a very kind and helpful guy, and he did whatever he could to help us out. He was very funny, always had a way of creatively teaching calculus to us that not a whole lot of people can do. And I think that and how he did it is going to be something that's going to stick for me for a very long time.
The field work that Indiana Tech can provide here is, for example, we have a 10 kilowatt windmill that the students can work with. We have a geothermal system for a couple of the buildings for Utangsu and for Zollner that uses geothermal principles to heat and cool the buildings in the summer and the winter.
The PV array system, training system that we have down here in the basement allows us to wire up the panels we have down in the basement to set it up as a off-the-grid system or a battery bank system, which helps us because we can see every component of the system actually intertwining and how they work together, which is something that may not be easily visible when you're on the job site in a career. So definitely my internship at Super Value Incorporated was a very, very beneficial program for me to be in. It was more based on the process and logistical side of engineering of my degree, not necessarily the design aspect. It helped me really learn how the most efficient way to do a task and some of the boundaries that come with trying to make things more efficient.
One of the things that we've been very fortunate here at Indiana Tech is that we've had a grant through AEP to help subsidize our students in taking some of the various trips in spring break. Over the last 4 years, I have taken, along with a couple of other chaperones, I've taken almost a couple of dozen students to a trip to Germany and Switzerland that focused on renewable energy. We've gone to Iceland last year, focusing on geothermal energy, and we just recently returned from a trip to Costa Rica.
Just last year, I went to Iceland with a couple of our peers, not even just energy engineers, but a couple of other engineering majors went along with us. And for me, that was the highlight of my college time. I mean, we learned a lot about like geothermal systems and how they converted to a country of basically like ran just by geothermal. But it wasn't just learning about that, it was also learning about their culture as well, you know, and the past and the history and where they plan to go in their future. And all those things combined, I think, really kind of defines my experience here in Indiana Tech.
You can be the smartest engineer in the world, but if you cannot talk to or work with other engineers and non-engineers, it's very hard to get anything done. I try to teach my students that while you may not like writing, it's going to be a part of the job. You have to communicate. If you're doing experiments or testing hardware in the lab, you need to write it up so that other people know what you did, and the customer may want to know what are the results of that test.
Something I would remember most about the faculty would be just the one-on-one aspect of it and how open they are to hearing your problems and concerns and willing to assist you. Indiana Tech, with the class sizes being so small, you really get that one-on-one talking, everyday type relationship with your advisors and your professors. And having that is key to success, I feel, because being able to communicate with them and actually get your problems and questions across is going to help clarify things for you while you're in classes in school, which is going to set you up for success.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
Want to know what it means to be a warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a warrior's shoes. You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a warrior.
It is a chilly day in November, early in the women's college basketball season, but a top 25 matchup is upon us from the Schaefer Center and two teams who made it to the final site in the national tournament last year. Number 10, Indiana Wesleyan, coming in at 4-2 on the road tonight to take on number 17, Indiana Tech, who enters with a 1-1 record on the season. For Summit City Sports and live on the Indiana Tech Athletics YouTube page, I'm Jared Matheny, glad to be with you on this Tuesday evening. Conference play on the horizon for both of these teams, but we got a couple more games to get there. Indiana Wesleyan playing in their third game in a row against Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference teams. Back-to-back wins against the WAC, as the Wildcats have won 3 games in a row following losses to number 2 Bethel out of Tennessee and number 3 Campbellsville out of Kentucky. But back-to-back wins against the WAC, 85-51 at Cornerstone, 68-47 over Aquinas. And this defense has been suffocating, and it's what we've come to expect from IWU. but they are a tough out night in and night out. This group as a unit forcing 21 turnovers per game, 8 more turnovers in the positive department for Indiana Wesleyan versus their opponents this season. And 8 different players are averaging at least 5 points per game. Indiana Wesleyan last year, a team that made it all the way to the national championship, fell to that very talented Dort team who repeated as national champions. But that's a group that graduated a lot of senior talent from last year's roster. They were reconstructing a bit this year on what this team would look like. But here we are again, and Indiana Wesleyan continuing to look like they're a part of the cream of the crop in the NAIA this season. 34-3 last year, falling by 9 points in the national championship after winning the regular season and tournament title in the Crossroads League. I mentioned Crossroads League play and Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference play beginning next week, November 19th. The Crossroads League will open up its season. Indiana Wesleyan taking on Goshen. IWU picked 3rd in the preseason poll. St. Francis 1st, Marion 2nd, and then HU 4th. Those are the top 4 teams in the preseason poll for the Crossroads League. A lot of representation from the state of Indiana on this roster, but all of these kids for IWU come from the Midwest, Indiana, Ohio, or Michigan. Those are the 3 states that are targeted heavily by this Indiana Wesleyan coaching staff, and they've done a great job of bringing in more talent locally and just around the area to continue to build on what's a really good tradition of basketball at Indiana Wesleyan. For Indiana Tech, they're coming off a 69-61 loss at HU last Wednesday. The Warriors will be back home this weekend for the first doubleheader of the year, women's and men's basketball, hosting St. Francis for the doubleheader 1 and 3 p.m. on Saturday. The loss at Huntington, a team in the Crossroads League, if you're unfamiliar. 69-61 the final score. Ryan Moore had 22 points and 6 rebounds for Indiana Tech in the loss. Moore has now had 23 and 22 points in her 2 games in an Indiana Tech uniform. Taylor Covington, 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, but it came down to the free throws for Indiana Tech. They were 5 for 15 as a team at the line. Moore herself 2 for 10, which is pretty shocking when you look at the numbers from last year. She shot just below 80% at the free throw line individually last season at Concordia Ann Arbor before transferring in to Indiana Tech. Now, certainly could have been a very hostile environment at HU and a women's program that's kind of finding their rhythm. They did force 15 Huntington turnovers, but the Foresters, when they got to the line, they counted them. 16 of 19 at the charity stripe in that victory, and HU also out-rebounding Indiana Tech by 10 in that victory at Huntington, again, last Wednesday night. Tech opened up the season with a 91-41 win over Miami, Ohio of Hamilton, and they'll start WAC play on November 19th at Northwestern Ohio. And they are the preseason favorite once again to win the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. 8 first-place votes. Aquinas got 3, and Lourdes got the other. Indiana Tech has won 4 straight regular season titles in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. And head coach Jessie Biggs now in her 14th season. They have dominated since she's been at Indiana Tech. 10 consecutive seasons of at least 20 wins for Tech while Biggs is at the helm, but 9 years in a row they've won at least 25 games in the last 9 seasons. Each of the last 9 years they've won at least 25 games, and they've had 30-win seasons mixed in there 4 different times as well. It has been a program with a lot of success, and getting to the national tournament, they fell in the round of 16 last year to Freed Hardeman. Head coach Ethan Whaley in his 9th season at the helm for Indiana Wesleyan. 30 wins 3 of the last 4 years for IWU. They were the Crossroads League tourney winner 4 of the last 5 seasons, and he's got 21 wins in the national tournament in just those 9 seasons. He started his coaching career at Indiana Wesleyan as a men's basketball assistant from 2011 to 2017, where he was a 2-time national champion. We're just a couple of minutes away from the starting lineups being introduced and tip-off from the Schaefer Center. Indiana Tech coming in at number 17 currently. Indiana Wesleyan at number 10 at the moment. There will be a new poll out tomorrow. These are still preseason rankings for teams across the NAIA. But definitely there will be some shakeup when everything is said and done tomorrow when we see a new top 25 poll. Mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Indiana Tech will be back at home this weekend. Another Crossroads League opponent for the Warriors. The women will play at 1 p.m. against St. Francis, and then St. Francis, Indiana Tech battle for Fort Wayne once again will be at 3 p.m. on the men's basketball side of things. Joe Northern's going to have your coverage of those two matchups. We'll be back here at Indiana Tech tomorrow for the opening round of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference volleyball postseason tournament. That is a 7 p.m. start time tomorrow. Joe Northern will have your call of that match. So Wednesday, Saturday, some big basketball and volleyball for Indiana Tech. Indiana Wesleyan looking to improve to 5-2 on the year. Indiana Tech trying to get to 2-1 on the season and looking to pick up what would be a very good win for their resume. We'll have your starting lineups coming up after we pause for the national anthem. Don't go anywhere though. Tip-off is just around the corner between number 10 and number 17. Two teams who made it to the final site of the national tournament last year, looking to get back to that same place once again. And you're starting the season with really good competition across the board. Game number 7 already for Indiana Wesleyan. We'll be back in 2 minutes after the national anthem. Get you your starting lineups and then tip-off between the Wildcats and the Warriors here live on YouTube, SummitCitySports.com, and the Indiana Tech Warrior Athletic page on YouTube.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior.
I think it's really important for freshmen to realize you get out of college what you put into it. If you dedicate yourself to your classes and to your projects and to what you're doing in college, you're going to have a really great experience here.
I wish someone would have told me my freshman year that it's important to prioritize, knowing what's important, what's not important, knowing what I need to do opposed to what I want to do.
The two things that I think all freshmen should know is buy a parking permit so you don't rack up a bunch of fines and tickets, and also make sure you go to class, because it seems like a good idea when you're skipping, but then it's not worth it in the end when you fail the test or don't turn in homework.
As an international student, my advice for the freshmen is to not be afraid to make friends, because your friends here will end up being your family away from home.
anything that you want to do, anything that you want to put on, anything that you want to showcase on campus, you can. There's always people around to help you do what you want to do here.
Make sure that you always take time for yourself to make sure that you're okay, because college can be very overwhelming as far as like schoolwork and friends and sports and just like everyday life. Always just make sure that you get what you need to get done.
It's important to have a relationship with your professors because you become more personable with them. You start to engage in the material more. They can give you recommendations, especially once you get out of college. You definitely want to put them down as like references. And if you have a better personal relationship, it just makes the whole learning experience go smoothly.
We welcome you back to the Schaefer Center, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Time to meet your starters for the visitors on the scoreboard. The Wildcats of Indiana Wesleyan out of Marion coming in at number 10. A little bit of a different look for IWU, and juniors and a sophomore down the line. Tori Thompson, Kylie Bettinger, Emily Mattingly, as well as Ellie Kelleher and Bria Garber in the starting rotation after she had the best performance for Indiana Wesleyan in terms of total points in that 68-47 win over Aquinas. Now the starting lineup for the home team on the scoreboard, the Indiana Tech Warriors, number 17 in the preseason poll. Sophomore forward Ryan Moorer, the leading scorer through the first 2 games this year for Indiana Tech. Out of Albion, Indiana, Central Noble High School graduate number 2, Madison Weiss, and the transfer from Siena Heights. You've got Moorer, the transfer from Concordia Ann Arbor. Weiss, the transfer from Siena Heights. Now the 4-year starter, Taylor Covington. She has been spectacular the entirety of her Indiana Tech career. Looking to play a little bit more of that point guard role this season without Juliana Burris, but it's been good when Covington's been on the floor for Indiana Tech. Durbin Thomas, also a transfer in, and then the sophomore Jaden Goley in the starting lineup for Indiana Tech. Goley, just a sophomore, but already in her career, 100 offensive rebounds through the first just a little bit more than 30 games played for Jaden Goley. Ready to tip things off at center court here at Indiana Tech. Warriors facing off against the Wildcats in a top 25 matchup. Tip is up and controlled by Indiana Wesleyan. We welcome you in Fort Wayne, Indiana. SummitCitySports.com, live on the Warrior YouTube channel. Jaron Matheny, glad to be with you. Matt Jackson running our camera. Here is Tori Thompson. And immediately a tie-up for the Warrior defense as Weiss draws the jump. And it is Indiana Tech basketball. Briefly have the arrow. We will see constant pressure from Indiana Wesleyan defensively, up and down the floor, and then they'll settle into their half-court structure, but expect for ball control to be the main play. Both of these teams pride themselves on their defense. Covington, triple! And the first shot for Taylor Covington is through. Warriors are on the board with 9:13 and counting here in the first quarter. Baseline drive, got to the spot but missed the lay-in for Mattingly. Preseason second team in the Crossroads League this year for Emily Mattingly, who had a really good national tournament. Kelleher turns and uses the bank to her advantage. Indiana Wesleyan's on the board. And a little less pressure in the early going than I thought we would see, at least from IWU. See them pick up 94 feet at times. Weiss, head fake, kept her feet. Can't hit the triple. Loose ball out of bounds, last touched by Indiana Tech. But that's the area where we have seen Jaden Goley have so much success, and it's got to be a focal point for all teams when they face Indiana Tech. You have to find a way to box out 21 every single time you leave her available. She's going to go find that board. Kelleher hands off And they'll work it around the arc right. Mattingly into the corner, 3 for Kelleher is through, and Indiana Wesleyan has the lead, 5-3, early stages of the first quarter. Thomas with a bounce pass for goalie. Good ball movement, top of the key, triple. Covington off the mark, and rebound hauled in by Garber. Indiana Tech shooting right near 25% from three-point land in that loss to Huntington. Thomas got beat to the spot and commits the foul. Kelleher going to the free throw line for 2 attempts. Change for Indiana Tech. Avery Collins, the sophomore, is in for the Warriors. Thomas called for her first. First free throw off the mark for Kelleher. And again, this is where you really dive into the numbers for Indiana Tech at Huntington. They left points at the free throw line. There is some pressure. Moorer and Covington play back and forth. Midway through the shot clock. Weiss for Moorer. Shot clock to 7. Good defense from Indiana Wesleyan, but a reach-in foul comes with the shot clock down to 4. Tech basketball underneath the bucket. Mattingly called for her first. Team foul number 1. Covington inbounding and a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Just so you're aware at home, our clock on your screen is not lined up exactly with the one in venue. Covington 3 off the front iron. So if you see it bug out for a second, just know that's not what's happening in venue. 6:45 first quarter. Mattingly into the corner, 3 ball, just hopped off the iron as goalie grabs the defensive board off the miss from Bettinger. Slow offensive start for these two teams, but Covington drives to the cup. She's got all 5 for Indiana Tech. More than 1,200 points in her Indiana Tech career over really just 3 years for Covington. Second team All-American nationally. Block and good defense from Collins. Coach Whaley was looking for a whistle. Couple of subs to the scores table for IWU. Goalie Covington midway through the shot clock. Covington mid-range game is good, and Taylor Covington's got all 7 for Indiana Tech in the early going. 4 minutes off the clock in this first quarter. Kelleher, offense moving. Garber on the outside trying to back down. Goalie, help comes, and Collins creates the turnover. Nice spark off the bench immediately for Indiana Tech. It's Avery Collins. She goes to Covington. Baseline, help comes, extra pass. Moorer fouled and headed to the free throw line for 2 attempts. Team foul number 2 on Indiana Tech. Couple of subs. Addie Hovey, Corinne Grivey are in for the Wildcats. Jade Hovey also enters. So Jade and Avi Hovey, Corinne Grivey are in for Indiana Wesleyan. And we'll see this. Talked about it in the pregame. 8 different players score at least 5 points a game for Indiana Wesleyan. We have yet to see Krieger in this game as well. She's the leading scorer for the Wildcats so far in her freshman season. Just over 12 points per game for her. Moorer sitting at 22.5 per game, and a foul against Indiana Tech. And we've got subs coming for Indiana Tech. Goalie picked up the foul. She's out. Jacqueline Cruz is on. Gabby Ritchie also in for Tech. Well, 8-6 Warriors. Covington with 7 of the 8 points for Indiana Tech. Mattingly going to the inside, and a travel called before Addie Hovey got into the air. That takes us to the under 5 and should take us to a media timeout. 4:57 to play in the opening quarter. Number 17 leads number 10 by 2. SummitCitySports.com and live on the Warrior YouTube channel.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
2 team fouls on both Indiana Wesleyan and Indiana Tech. It is 8-6 Warriors. 4:57 to play in the opening quarter as we welcome you back into the Schaefer Center. SummitCitySports.com. We are live on the Indiana Tech Warrior YouTube channel. And some pressure in the full court for the Wildcats defensively. Ritchie goes to Cruz at the free throw line. Left lane drive is good. And Jacqueline Cruz is on the board with 2 points for the redshirt sophomore. Good press break from Indiana Tech there. Jade Hovey up high for Mattingly. A look to Thompson. Got pushed off the ball by Covington. Shot clock to 12. Grivey into the corner. Thompson cutting, got around her defender and lays it off the window. Back to a 1-possession game. Quickly up the floor, Ritchie's pass was at the feet of a couple of Wildcats. Those are the turnovers you don't want to see if you're Indiana Tech, and those are exactly the kind of turnovers I was trying to force. Mattingly fouled by Cruz. That foul does come on the shot. It is a push against Cruz, and 2 free throws upcoming. Cruz first, team foul number 3 against Indiana Tech. And Mattingly at the line, shooting a pair of free throws. Mattingly and Kelleher were the 2 picks to be on the Crossroads League preseason team, both second-team selections. One of 2 at the line. Cruz able to hang on to that defensive board. Broke the press rather easily this time. Collins back into the game for Indiana Tech. They've gone to a smaller lineup here. Ritchie, and there's the length of the Wildcats forcing a turnover. Good defense from Mila Browning. Up the floor, Grivey corner pocket. Off the mark, offensive rebound Mattingly, and loose ball. Possession arrow stays with Indiana Wesleyan. And Coach Biggs with 3 new players into this game. Ritchie, Moore, and Collins exit. Vice, goalie, and Thomas all back in. .21 on the shot clock, and this pass taken away by goalie. Thomas, baseline, got stopped with some help defense. Worked around the arc to the left for Cruz. Pass for goalie on the entry, knocked away. And it's Jade Hovey who poked it free and out of bounds. Trying to get through some traffic for Indiana Tech on this inbound. Covington squares her shoulders, fires away, and hits another. Taylor Covington carrying the Warrior offense at the moment. Goalie the assist. Ayla Krieger in for the first time, facing goalie. Be a good matchup of underclassmen in this game. Grivey dumps in, foul underneath. It's Hovey turned to the bucket. Fourth team foul on Indiana Tech, and the second personal called on Thomas. Here's Addie Hovey backing up Cruz and just worked her way to the perfect spot on the block underneath. Up the floor, Collins dumps in, goalie out, Covington into a three, off the line. Indiana Wesleyan picking up the pace up the floor. Hovey going inside, Krieger. Layup is good, and the leading scorer is on the board for Indiana Wesleyan. Tied up at 13, just over 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. A little bit more trouble with that press break. Cruz on the attack is fouled and headed to the line for 2 free throws. Foul is charged to Corinne Grivey, her first, team foul number 3. Two free throws coming for Jacqueline Cruz. All even at 13. Covington with 10 on the now 14 points for Indiana Tech. Kelleher returns to the lineup for the Wildcats. Final 2-minute stretch of this opening quarter. Good back and forth so far, and probably some more scoring than most expected early in this game. Kelleher had it stripped free. Weiss, hard on the attack, left-handed lay-in. Great finish at the rim for Madison Weiss. Put her shoulder into the ground and just trucked her way into the lane. Love to see a good aggressive drive on offense. Krieger to the corner, poked free by Cruz. Out of bounds, stays with Indiana Wesleyan, 15 on the shot clock. 1:21 on the game clock in venue. Kelleher inbounding. Shot clock to 10. Backdoor look for Grivey. She kicks out. Extra pass to the corner. Garber got inside but missed the jumper. Collins almost out of control on the dribble. Coach Biggs trying to slow things down from the sideline. 15 on the shot clock. Cruz driving again. Just left that right-handed lay-in short. Chance to go 2 for 1 for Indiana Wesleyan. Kelleher, offensive foul, headed the other way. Just a little too aggressive going to the inside, and Kelleher picks up her first, 4th team foul against Indiana Wesleyan in the quarter. So both teams will be in the bonus with the next foul. Thompson returns. Mattingly also back on. And Bettinger back in. And here comes this patented pressure from Indiana Wesleyan. Although they fall back Moorer driving straight through. May have been a double dribble there. Ball into the corner. Shot clock turned off. Final 20 seconds. Bettinger. Oh, that's Hovey, whose pass is taken away by Covington. 4 seconds and 3. Covington gonna hoist at the horn, off the mark. But Indiana Tech leading Indiana Wesleyan after the end of the first quarter. 17-13, Tech in front. Second quarter action comes your way after this 1 minute timeout.
Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, Warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
Both teams scoreless over the last minute 40 of that first quarter. Taylor Covington, 10 points. Kelleher leads Indiana Wesleyan with 6 points. Turnover numbers after that first quarter, Indiana Tech +4 in the turnover department. 6 turnovers for IWU compared to 2 for Indiana Tech. And the rebounding numbers are the other big thing. 10 rebounds for Indiana Wesleyan compared to just 4 for Indiana Tech. As we get the second quarter started, Schaefer Center, just on the edge of downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, is where you can find the campus of Indiana Tech. Taking on notorious Wildcats, who finished as the national runner-up last season. Goalie for Covington. Passes for Weiss, shot clock to 9. Moorer, middle of the zone, turnaround doesn't go. Nice look, though, all things considered, for Indiana Tech. They found the shot you want on that possession, just didn't hit it. So Mattingly's on the floor with Garber, as well as Addie Hovey and Jade Hovey. Thompson making up that 5. Here's the pass for an open look from Jade Hovey. Doesn't go. Addie Hovey, offensive rebound, and sticks it back for 2. Collins, Weiss, Covington, Moorer, and goalie, the 5 for Indiana Tech. Thomas with 2 fouls for the Warriors. That's why she's not in the game right now with the rest of the starting group. Takeaway. Tried to go to the middle of that zone. Jade Hovey, pass was off the mark. It's out of bounds, and it's going to stay here. Correction, it's going to go to Indiana Tech. Initially signaled that it was Wildcat basketball. That has been quickly reversed. And looks like Indiana Wesleyan may be dealing with an injury right now. The athletic trainers are moving over towards the Wildcat bench, and Garber going to get some attention at the end of the bench for Indiana Wesleyan. So we'll keep you updated on that as the trainer just made his way over to the IWU bench. Krieger's in the game. Thompson to the left for Mattingly initially, and now Krieger has it. Handoff Mattingly. Looking for help. Shot clock at 10. High pass in the air, and Covington did enough to deflect it. Weiss with the takeaway. Ritchie, usually really good from long distance, off the mark. 7:45 to play in the second quarter. This is the largest lead for Indiana Tech at 5 points. Mattingly cuts it to 3, and back to a one-possession game with the 2. Largest lead for the Wildcats, 3 points in this game. That came at 6-3. So very tightly contested back and forth. There's an O board for Jaden Goley. Ritchie, right wing 3, and just offline. Defensive board collected by Krieger initially. Mattingly, skip pass across. Addie Hovey driving inside. Tough finish at the rim for Hovey. Last 4 points scored by the Wildcats. Covington lines up another tray. Taylor Covington, 16 of the 23 points for Indiana Tech. And she's hit a couple of big threes as well here in the first half. Krieger, runner, falls through. Offense picking up after that scoreless stretch in the final 2:20 of the first quarter for Indiana Wesleyan. They didn't score in the last 2 minutes and 20 seconds of that quarter, but Tech didn't score in the last minute 40. Moving screen, and Krieger called for it. Krieger's first team foul, number 1 of the second quarter. Bettinger returns for Indiana Wesleyan. Mila Browning also back in. Jacqueline Cruz back on for Indiana Tech. Covington looking for some help. Weiss finds it. Back to Covington, foot in the ground. She'll run it in on the free throw line. Got her own O board. Ritchie cutting. Got blocked on the way up. Addie Hovey with the defensive stop on the rejection. And here is Hovey. She lost it. And this is one of those games where, yeah, we saw the offense pick it up for a couple of possessions, but two defensive-minded teams. And quickly, the offense has been shut down. Midway through the shot clock, Cruz looking for help. Here's Covington, shot clock at 7. Down to 5. Covington trying to go to work. All over her defensively, and good work from Browning. Shot doesn't go. Next whistle takes us to a media break. Square up the shoulders, three-pointer. Not soft enough for Bettinger. Covington slings a pass for Weiss. Another offensive rebound for Tech. Didn't have one of those in the first quarter. Another baseball pass out. This is Ritchie. Good fit between the legs on the bounce pass from Ritchie. How often do we see the bounce pass just forgotten? Was the only time to use it was right there. And it forces a timeout for Indiana Wesleyan, which takes us to the media break. 25-21, 4:16. As we check out the replay, great bounce pass from Ritchie to Cruz. And the Warriors lead by 4.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
Four-point Indiana Tech lead with just more than 4 minutes to play in the first half. Warriors shooting 36% from the field compared to 56% for Indiana Wesleyan, but the Wildcats have turned it over 6 more times than Indiana Tech has, and the Warriors have also shot it 9 more times. 9 more field goal attempts for Tech. 3 rimmed out, and the attempt from Addie Hovey doesn't fall. Collins, Cruz, Ritchie, Weiss, and Goalie, the 5 on the floor. No Covington at the moment. Goalie, baseline, got it to Collins. She weaves through some traffic and couldn't finish on the lay-in. Corinne Grivey pushing the pace for IWU. She looked in, kicks right. Now they get it inside. Hovey with the height mismatch. But good defense from Cruz. Avery Collins has quickly become a trusted piece off the bench for Indiana Tech. Ritchie lining up the 3, off the iron. Goalie tapped it to Collins for the O board. Cruz out to Ritchie. Shot clock at 15. Reset for Indiana Tech. Shot clock at 7. Collins to Goalie. Back to Collins. 2 seconds. She's fouled as she puts it up. And do not think this is going to be a shot. It's going to be on the floor from the looks of it. Krieger called for her second. Jade Hovey back in. 20 on the shot clock off this inbound. Collins, shot clock to 10. Really ferocious defense from IWU at the moment, and now another whistle and a reach-in foul as Collins could feel that pressure. Wildcat fans don't agree, but I don't know what else you expect there with the amount of contact that was at the body. Team foul number 3. Warriors have not been called for a team foul in this second quarter, but it was 4 team fouls apiece after the first. Covington back into the game and inbounding now for Tech. And she's whistled for the travel. So under 3 minutes to play in the first half. 4-point Indiana Tech lead. And another reach-in foul. This one called against the Warriors. It's on Cruz, her second. First team foul of the quarter. Ryan Moore going to come in for Cruz. Been quiet offensively in this first half, but it's allowed Covington to find her way. Hovey nearly lost the basketball, hands off. Bettinger gave out right for a Mattingly 3. No, Grivey going after that loose ball. Probably should have had the offensive rebound there. A couple of bodies mixed in. Up the floor to Goalie, lays it off the window. Kelleher triple, needed a bucket for Indiana Wesleyan, and they find one. They were 1 for 7 on their last 7 3-pointers before that went through. Midway through the shot clock. Goalie floated it out to the corner. Covington collects and fires. Goalie an offensive rebound. She is a monster underneath on the glass. Weiss backing up, bounced it to Moorer. Shot clock back to 10. Moorer spinning, pulls, and hits. Inside game for Ryan Moorer. It's back to a 5-point Tech lead. Quickly moving up the floor. Kelleher, offensive foul as she ran into Collins. Check out the replay. And yeah, maybe you get a bit of an embellishment there, but certainly the contact led to that being believable. Weiss pulls it out, final minute. And then on the same page there, Collins and Moorer. Turnover for Indiana Tech, which they've done a nice job of not doing that. In this first half. 2-for-1 chance for IWU, down by 5. Mattingly gave up. Here's Hovey. Back to Mattingly. Set it up for the 3. It's short, out of bounds, and belongs to Indiana Tech. We got a whistle. Somebody was out of bounds trying to get that ball in. Hovey returning for Indiana Wesleyan. Covington with a baseball pass up the floor. Collins drove in, dumped it off to goalie. 2 more points. Shot clock turned off. 7-point lead for Indiana Tech is the largest of the first half. Hovey, spin move. Missed the lay-in, offensive board. Mattingly, no. Tipped around, out of bounds. Tech basketball. 3 seconds exactly left in the second quarter. And now a sub. Haley Amy comes in. We're going to bring Mattingly off the floor for this final 3 seconds. Bounce pass to Covington. And she's whistled for the travel. There's going to be time put back on this clock, though. Probably a second, maybe a second and a half. And Indiana Wesleyan going to try to sub in this situation. So officials still going through and looking to see how much time should be left. Got the new replay system here at Indiana Tech. So checking things out there. And we'll probably get a second remaining if I had to guess. So they put 0.6 back on the clock. Inbounds, turn and fire, and straight up for Moorer defensively. Sends us to halftime. Indiana Tech holding its largest lead of the game currently, 31-24. Tech leading the Wildcats at the break. And waiting for the Warriors to hit the locker room. And now they will, as we'll put 15 minutes up on the clock for this halftime break. Second half should begin right about 6:53. We're going to step aside now, take you on a tour around the Indiana Tech campus. When we return, we'll go through your first half stats. Look forward to the second half of action. And again, both these teams gearing up for conference play just 8 days from now. For now, though, a tour around the campus at Indiana Tech, and then your halftime stats after this break here, SummitCitySports.com, and live on the Indiana Tech Athletics YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm Paxton, and I'll be your tour guide today. Behind me, we have Pearson Hall. This is one of our freshman dorms on campus. Today, I'll be showing you dorm rooms. Come inside. The only way to get into campus is if you have an ID card, so you'll have to swipe into all the dorms. And then over here, we have an intercom system. So through every dorm, we have these dial buttons within the dorm rooms and then outside. So say you're visiting somebody, you don't live here, you would dial their room number, and then you can actually call their room, and they can unlock the doors to the dorm through the intercom system, and you can talk to them. They can see you through a camera, and they can unlock the doors for you, so they don't have to leave the room. It's really nice to have. So right here, we just have our main lobby. Every floor has a lobby. In the lobbies, we just have TVs and stuff. You can watch movies, play video games. You can hang out with friends, do homework, play card games. It's just a nice little hangout area to have. And then right here, this is what we call our RA office. So every single night, there will be an RA in the office. They're just there for your needs if you have any issues with toilets or sinks or anything being clogged. They'll always be in there for your help. If you have questions about anything, you can always come see an RA here. And then over here, we have mailboxes. Every student has a mailbox. They are really small. The only thing they can fit is card-sized items. Throughout campus, you'll see our mail room when you go on your actual tour later on, and that will be in one of our other buildings where you'll receive bigger packages. All right, so here's the laundry room. So in the laundry room, you don't have to save quarters or use quarters. I know it says 25 cents, but it is included with living on campus. And then there's one on every floor and every side of the floor, so there's 2 on every floor in Pearson. So every student has keys to their dorm. And then as you come in, you will see our intercom system right here that I talked about in the entranceway. So this is where you would unlock the door for visitors, talk to them. And then one really nice thing about it is there is a security guard button right there. So if you were to have somebody calling your room constantly at 5 o'clock in the morning because some student forgot their keys, you could actually press the security guard button and it will lock them in that little box that we entered into the dorm. It'll lock both the outside doors and the inside doors and call security. So it also has a nice safety measure within your room. You don't even have to leave your room for that. So it's really nice. And then as we enter in this way, you'll see this is the half of our room looks like. So there's this, and then on the other side of the suite, there's a mirrored room that looks exactly like this. The desk, the dressers, and the closets, and all of the drawers and stuff all come with. You can decorate it any way you'd like, and then mini fridges, TVs, anything like that you would bring here. And then through here we have our bathroom. So then as we come into the bathroom, you'll see that this side of the room has their own sink and toilet, and then as you come through, there's one shower shared between the 2 rooms, and then this side of the room has their own sink and toilet, and then there's the mirrored room right here. So then they share a little common space out there, and then this is the exact same stuff, and it's all the same. Here we have Calflush. This is our other freshman dorm on campus. It is across the street from main campus. We'll be showing another freshman dorm, the laundry room, and then the hangout lobby area. Come on in. So same thing as Pearson. To get into the dorms, you have to have a swipe card that unlocks and lets you in. All right, and then we have the same intercom system as we do in Pearson, and it runs throughout all of the dorms. And then in here is the lobby area where all the students hang out. We have like a TV so people can hook up like Xboxes or anything like that, DVD players, you can watch movies. I know RA's put on a bunch of activities down here. They do like movie nights with hot chocolate during the winter. We've done like pumpkin carving and we watch a Halloween movie, and so that's all done down here. And then it's the same thing over here. You can do some studying, you can hang out with friends, you can eat dinner if you want, and like I said, you can hang out with your RA, hang out with your friends, do homework, but follow me to the next part. So same thing as Pearson, every student has keys to their dorm. So when you first walk in, it's different than Pearson where there's no like 2 mirrored room. It's just one room with 2 students. The shelves, the desks, the drawers, all of the beds and stuff all come with. And then over here, it's the same for Pearson and Calflesh. You can control the air condition and the heat for the room, not the entire dorm, which is so nice because then it's between you and your roommate, not through hundreds of people in one building. And then as we walk over here, you'll see that the sink is outside of the bathroom, which is so nice because obviously if your roommate's showering, you don't have to worry about not being able to brush your teeth or even use the sink or get a drink of water or anything like that. And then as we walk over here, you'll see only 2 roommates to 1 bathroom. And then the shelving space. And then instead of Pearson where they have closets, you would have this whole shelving space and hanger area. And then same thing as Pearson, we have the intercom system over here where you can press the security guard button, you can talk to them, and then see them through the camera. Calflesh also has mailboxes. They're the same size. They fit card-sized items. And again, if you have any bigger packages, we do have a mailroom on campus. So then through here, this is the laundry room. The difference between Pearson and Calflesh is Calflesh, there's only one in the whole building and it's on the first floor, whereas Pearson has them on every floor. But it is the same as they are included with living here, so you don't have to use quarters. It's free to the students. And that concludes the tour. Thanks for coming with. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to your counselor. Hope to see you around campus. Go Warriors!
Want to wish a happy Veterans Day to all those veterans out there that have served or are currently serving in our U.S. Armed Forces as we welcome you back to the Schaefer Center. 31-24, your halftime score. Number 17, Indiana Tech leads number 10, Indiana Wesleyan. Jared Matheny for Summit City Sports. Glad to be with you. Matt Jackson on our camera here this evening. As a reminder, we will have Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference quarterfinal volleyball action tomorrow at the Schaefer Center, 7 p.m. Joe Northern has your call for that match for Indiana Tech at the start of the WAC tournament. Warriors probably going to need to win the conference tournament to make it to the national tournament this season. And then this Saturday, 1 and 3 p.m., St. Francis in town for a doubleheader against Indiana Tech. 31-24 halftime lead here in women's basketball. Taylor Covington leading the charge and leading both sides of the scoring sheet. 16 points on 6 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 10 from three-point range for Covington. She played 18 minutes in that opening half. Madison Weiss also playing 18 minutes in that first half for Indiana Tech. Weiss with 2 points, 3 assists, and a pair of steals in those 18 minutes. 6 points for Jacqueline Cruz, 2 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 at the line. We have not seen so far Avery Collins get into the point column, but she's got 4 rebounds in the first half to go along with a block and an assist as well. 4 points for Jaden Goley, who also has 4 rebounds, and 3 points for Ryan Moorer. 1 for 4 from the field for Moorer with a board and a steal in 15 minutes played. Indiana Tech offensively, 7 turnovers in that first half as they shoot 39% from the field, 25% from three-point range, 3 for 4 at the free throw line. Indiana Wesleyan led by Kelleher in scoring with 9 points, 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from three-point land for Kelleher. Mattingly with 3 points led Indiana Wesleyan in terms of minutes played in that first half with 16. 6 points for Addie Hovey on 3 of 6 shooting. Hovey with 7 rebounds in that first half for Indiana Wesleyan. Krieger played just 5 first-half minutes, did score 4 points for IWU. Wildcats 43.5% from the field, 2 of 9 from three-point range, 2 of 4 at the free throw line. +4 in the rebounding category, but Indiana Tech is +1 in the offensive rebounding category. 10 first-half turnovers for the Wildcats puts them at -3 in that department for the game. Largest lead for Indiana Wesleyan in the first half came with 6:45 to play in the opening quarter at 6-3. The largest lead for the Warriors is what it currently stands at, 7 points, and this 31-24 point advantage for Indiana Tech. As the Warriors try to pick up their first NAIA win of the season, the win over Miami Hamilton, not officially an NAIA victory, and then fell to Huntington 69-61 on the road last week. Indiana Wesleyan trying to avoid its 3rd loss early in the portion of this season, but also realizing that they have played a stacked schedule to begin this year. And you do that for a couple of reasons, right? You're trying to get ready for the national tournament in hopes that your team is going to make it there. But the Crossroads League is always so competitive that you've got to get ready for that as well. So Indiana Wesleyan falling to number 2 and number 3 earlier in this season. They've got themselves in a battle with number 17 currently. Indiana Tech leading by 7 at the break. We'll come back with second half action after this.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
I decided if I was going to come to Indiana Tech, I was going to be a different kind of instructor. I was really going to focus on connecting with students, teaching the students the theory that they needed, and also the practical applications.
Very practically, what that looks like is smaller class sizes. So my class sizes are the 8 to 10 up to maybe 20. And that's backed up with, we have 18 hours of office hours every week. I'm sitting in my office waiting for students to come in to talk about anything. It doesn't just have to be with the classroom.
In the College of Engineering, we have ABET accreditation for mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and biomedical engineering. ABET is the top accrediting board for engineering in the United States and probably in the world.
Another thing that is a very different approach at Indiana Tech, I think, that some other universities, is we try and make sure they have a lot of lab experience in the engineering department. All engineering programs are going to have laboratory courses, but in our laboratory courses we try to get them not just exposure to measurements and exposure to some of the devices that you'll be used, but I like to actually assign projects that are, realistic projects.
Those projects, this project-based learning, help students to work together in a group and be hands-on with their the material or the product that they're creating. Engineering students at Indiana Tech are, to me, stand out because I know that they've had a lot of experiences working in groups, working on projects, doing lab experiments to help them understand the material, and I think that prepares them well for industry.
First thing I'll tell a high school student is study, study, study. Get all the math you can possibly get. I honestly believe that the critical thinking skills you learn in math courses will help you with engineering courses.
The type of knowledge base that students should have coming in, they need to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. Those two things are really the essence of engineering. Regardless of flavor, they're going to need to figure out, there's a problem here, how do I solve it? And they need to think critically about that. They need to observe, listen to people, and then kick in those problem-solving skills to solve the problem.
Part of the growth of Indiana Tech has involved an increasing number of international students. So I think if we can expose students to different ideas, different cultures, again, it makes them that much more competitive in the marketplace.
In the Fort Wayne area, we have lots of large companies, BAE Systems, Fort Wayne Metals, General Motors, Raytheon, Harris Corporation, and the list goes on. We have a lot of employers that want our engineering students.
Indiana Tech, I think, continues to serve students even beyond their graduation. We really strive to keep in touch with our alumni on a personal level just to see how they're doing, but then also they want to give back to the university because of the experiences they've had here, so they want to provide opportunities for other students here as well.
Preparing for second half action from the Schaefer Center, Fort Wayne, Indiana, where the score, Indiana Tech 31, Indiana Wesleyan 24. Number 17 leading number 10 currently here at the Schaefer Center. By the looks of our scoreboard, it should be Indiana Wesleyan ball first. Keep the arrow with Indiana Tech as the third quarter and second half is underway. Indiana Tech just 1-9 against Indiana Wesleyan dating back to 2005. That one win was in 2022 in Marion. The Warriors have never won in Fort Wayne against the Wildcats. Shots off the mark. Moorer, defensive rebound for the Warriors. Indiana Tech with its starting five out on the floor. Same for Indiana Wesleyan to begin the final 20 minutes. Actually, no Garber out there, so instead of Garber, it is Addie Hovey, who had the best first half for anybody for Indiana Wesleyan. So Tori Thompson, Kylie Bettinger, Emily Mattingly, Ellie Kelleher, and then Addie Hovey are the five for IWU. 10 on the shot clock as Covington looking to inbound and finds Thomas. Durbin Thomas, 2 fouls pretty early in that first half. Sat a majority of the first 20 minutes. Moorer couldn't hit the floater. Kick out of the corner, quick three, and rolled off the mark for Bettinger. Offensive board, Hovey going back to Bettinger. Baseline drive, and a foul called against Covington. Her first team foul, number 1. Last year's meeting between these two, 84-61 final score in Marion. The year before that, 64-38, Wildcats victorious. Mattingly with the first points of the third quarter. Weiss pulling from deep and connecting on a left wing three for Madison Weiss. Warriors have had the response for every bucket that Indiana Wesleyan has had. Kelleher with a tough lay-in. Down the floor, Moorer inside, and one! Exactly what I just said. Warriors have had the response. Indiana Wesleyan goes down the floor, gets a big bucket. Tech responds with one of their own. And Moorer headed to the line for an and one free throw. Bettinger called for her first personal. Moorer, second free throw is good. So again, this is the largest lead for Indiana Tech now at 9 points. Hovey slides inside and lays it off the glass. Indiana Tech wasting no time. Covington, the pass down the floor for Moorer. What an assist from Taylor Covington. If you can't set up the press, you can get it beaten pretty quickly. And Covington just beat everybody with that pass down the floor. Hovey beating everybody at the point of attack right now for Indiana Wesleyan. Timeout taken by the Wildcats, and that sends us to a media timeout as well. 7:36 to play in the third quarter. 7-point Warrior lead.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
7-point Indiana Tech lead for number 17 over number 10. 7:36 to play in the third quarter. And the Warriors have the basketball off the make from Indiana Wesleyan and the timeout. And for the Wildcats, the discussion there with the pressure, I'm sure, for Coach Whaley is we got to make sure we got somebody back. Covington has shown her ability to make it a football or baseball pass, whatever you want to call it, down the floor, and created some problems for this Indiana Wesleyan defense. Goalie with the miss. Wildcats basketball. Kelleher gave up into the corner. Hovey, it's been her day, missed it there. Offensive rebound, Mattingly. Backing her way inside. Great use of the body for Mattingly. Got her position and lays it up and in. That ball's knocked out of bounds. Possession stays with the Warriors, but this is what you want if you're Indiana Wesleyan. You get the timeout, you get a stop, you get a bucket, and then you force the ball to be thrown in out of bounds from the far side, creating that pressure again on Indiana Tech, just trying to get past the midcourt line. Jacqueline Cruz in the game with a touch here. Collins also on the floor, just went down to the deck. Goalie out, Collins, travel. And the turnover margin was +3 in that first half for Indiana Tech. It's got to be around that same number. We can't see, if you're a Warrior fan, if that number flips to -5 and it's -8 in the second half, you're going to see Indiana Wesleyan get back into this game and start to pull away, because when they create turnovers, they start to feel it and it runs into their offense. And we're seeing it here. Mattingly lays it through. Some of those teams, and Indiana Tech at times has been one of these teams where if your defense isn't on point, you can't find your offense. Whistle, foul away from the basketball. More subs as here comes Jade Hovey. So Jade and Addie both in this game for Indiana Wesleyan. Addie, the freshman. And we've got another whistle and a foul. Foul called on Bettinger. Her second, team foul number 3. So 2 fouls back to back before time even came off the clock from the other foul. Covington driving in, regained her balance to get that shot off, but too strong. Hovey on the drive, Addie Hovey and one, and the freshman out of Shelby, Michigan, starting to take over for the Wildcats. Did have a whistle after the fact, and they're not going to let the subs come into this game yet. Let's check out the replay after the foul, and yeah, the contact against Collins. I'll rewind it and watch the whole possession. So the and one, but you see in the middle of your screen now the bump. And Kelleher called for the technical. So an and one free throw coming for Hovey on this side. And then I believe a technical issued, and that's why everybody's away from the lane on Kelleher.
0, Ryan Moore, number 4, Gabby Ritchie, check into the Warrior lineup. Entering for the Wildcats, number 3, Tori Thompson.
A couple of subs for Indiana Tech. Take this and one free throw to try and tie the game for Addie Hovey, who's having a great night so far. Missed the free throw, but Hovey up to 12 points. And now off the technical, Covington shooting free throws. She'll have 2 of them. Connects on both, and Indiana Tech will have the basketball as well. Addie Hovey, the freshman, averaging 10.6 points per game, at a career high 17 points in the opener. Scored 10 against Campbellsville, did not play in that Bethel game. But now you can't take her off the floor. Cruz, step through, lays it in. Tough bucket for Jacqueline Cruz, who's pretty shifty when she gets towards the rim. Oh, late whistle here, and off the bounce pass, contact against Moorer. Team foul number 3 on Indiana Tech. 4 team fouls on Indiana Wesleyan. We are not at the midway point of the third quarter. I don't feel like this game has been officiated entirely differently in the second half, but certainly more whistles have come through the first 5-ish minutes of this third quarter than we really saw in the entirety of that first half. Midway through the shot clock, Moorer, pass for Weiss, hand to Ritchie, 3-ball, halfway down and out. Moorer offensive rebound, and she's fouled on the putback attempt. And Ryan Moorer headed back to the line for 2 free throws. And we'll take a media timeout. 43-40, Indiana Tech leads Indiana Wesleyan. 4:52 to go in the third quarter.
Tech goes by many names. Business, fine art, forensic science. Some think it's just technical. But really, tech means everything. Scholarships, internships, championships. It's professors who make time for you one-on-one. It's putting everything on the line. It can be fierce. It can be fascinating. It can be awesome. Most important, it's believing in yourself and what you have to offer the world. Because at Indiana Tech, Warriors are prepared to lead a significant life.
Three-point Indiana Tech lead over Indiana Wesleyan. 4:52 left in the third quarter, and it is bonus time for the Warriors. who do hold the possession arrow currently. Ryan Moore with a pair of free throws upcoming. Pretty good form. Missed on that first attempt. And Indiana Tech 5 of 15 at the line at HU. An 0 for 2 on this trip, but an offensive rebound for Cruz. Grabs an extra possession. Ritchie letting it fly from deep. That's her range. Foul on Moorer. And that's team foul number 4 against Indiana Tech. So bonus time on the next foul for IWU. Second on Moorer. Got to be locked in defensively in this final 14 and a half minutes of game time. Mattingly looking for help. Found it in the form of Tori Thompson. Ball back to the top, Hovey. Thompson drives against Vice, got some help from Covington, but it didn't matter. Left-handed lay-in falls through, and it's a 1-point game. Ball movement on full display for Indiana Tech when they've been working at their best today. Not a lot of dribbles in between, chest passes. We saw a really slick bounce pass in that first half. Covington scoreless so far in the third quarter, and that stretch will continue. Chance for Indiana Wesleyan to take the lead. Mattingly spins inside. High lay-in off the glass is good. And it is a 1-point Wildcat advantage. Indiana Wesleyan right now on a 6-0 run and causing some more problems as Jesse Biggs, the head coach for Indiana Tech, is going to take a timeout. 30-second timeout for the Warriors, and this game has quickly turned on a dime as IWU 20 points on 10 of 13 from the floor in this quarter. 0 of 3 from three-point land. So anything they have taken inside of the three-point arc in this third quarter has been good. 10 for 10 from the floor. Indiana Tech 4 for 11 from the field. 1 for 4 from three-point range. Covington has scored here in the second half. Does have 2 points. She's up to 18. Those came on those technical free throw shots. She leads all scorers, but Addie Hovey with 14 points. And quietly, Kelleher and Mattingly each have 11. Indiana Wesleyan basketball. Jade Hovey is into the game. And inbounding for Mattingly. Junior guard of the Evansville stands at 5'10". Bounced off to Thompson. A lot of fighting on the inside. Thompson out. Kelleher shot doesn't go. Last touched by Indiana Tech. Covington saying she didn't block that ball. And the officials need to get together and talk about this, because if it was because of the block, and that is not the case. Shot clock at 10. Another deep three. Bettinger can't get it to go. Hovey offensive rebound, and she's fouled on the putback as Addie Hovey continues to do a little bit of everything. Hovey shooting 2 and sinks the first. Both teams now in the bonus for the final 3:03 of the third quarter. Indiana Wesleyan has tied its largest lead of the night. They led by 3 points at 6-3 in the opening quarter. Right now, though, controlling this game in the third. Covington Got it blocked on the three-point attempt. Hovey scanning the floor. She's going to work. And a reach-in foul. Hovey back to the line for two more. And we have seen more whistles in this third quarter than we did throughout most of the first half. It's a physical brand of basketball. Hovey shooting two. Ayla Krieger coming in for the Wildcats. Corinne Grivey also returns to the lineup. Hovey off the mark on that first free throw. Right now sitting at 16 points, so she's a point away from matching her career high, which came in the opener. Oh for 2, though, for Hovey on this trip. See what Moorer and the Indiana Tech offense have on display here in the third quarter. Moorer inside, another whistle, and more free throws, this time coming for Indiana Tech. Krieger called for her third. Ryan Moorer good on the first. Moorer with 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 6 at the line. And Moorer goes 1 for 2, loose ball, Cruz getting after it, and she is called for the push, trying to get that loose ball. Cruz, her third personal. And the other side, it's Corinne Grivey shooting two. The fifth, or rather the sixth and seventh free throws of the quarter. And Grivey, her first point of the night. Redshirt junior from Columbus, Indiana. 2 for 2 at the line. And this is now the largest lead for Indiana Wesleyan at 4 points. Indiana Tech is led by as many as 9. That was here in the third quarter at 39-30. Weiss. Bank is open. Shrug the shoulders. If it goes in, it goes in. You won't see banked on the final box score. 1 point game, final 2 minutes of the third quarter. Highly contested between two teams who should be in the national tournament when all is said and done this year. Inside, Hovey missed the lay-in, loose ball, jump ball. And the arrow favors Indiana Tech. Covington and Moore back and forth to break that pressure. Cruz driving in, creates the contact and one. Jacqueline Cruz has found a couple dynamite plays at the bucket tonight. Foul is called on Thompson, who came to help. Cruz lays it up and through. Bettinger and Jade Hovey back in for the Wildcats. And one free throw for Jacqueline Cruz. So both teams fighting back in this third quarter. We've got ourselves a great ball game. Mattingly gives up. Hovey looking for help. Shot clock to 10. Mattingly, 3-ball, short. Covington board. 2 jerseys around her, looking up the floor. Weiss to Ritchie. Bounced it off for Cruz and turned it over. Two for one potential for Indiana Wesleyan. Mattingly cuts to the cup, left-handed finish. And about 7 seconds separating shot and game clock at the end of this third quarter. All even at 50. Covington backs it out. Shot clock to 10. Weiss, head fake. Kick out. Ritchie, 3-ball. Good! Gabby Ritchie doing her job. Final play of the third quarter. Mattingly. Bank is open for her. That's how the third quarter comes to a close. A couple of bank shots late, both from beyond the arc, and we're tied up at 53 going to the fourth quarter. We'll be back in 1 minute to the Schaefer Center.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there are so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
Emily Mattingly channeling her inner Caitlin Clark on that last shot from beyond 25 feet on that three-pointer. Ties us up at 53 to start the final 10 minutes from the Schaefer Center. And potentially more. They did take a look at that shot on replay review at the end of the third quarter. It was good. Felt good in venue, and they just confirmed it on the back end. Fourth quarter underway. Hovey handing off to Mattingly, regathers the basketball and lays it in with a left hand. Indiana Wesleyan scores the first point of the fourth quarter, and it is a 2-point advantage. Covington into goalie, kick out, Weiss for the lead. Left it short, Moorer looking for an offensive rebound, couldn't quite bring it in. Kelleher. Outright, Bettinger gives up into the corner. Addie Hovey. For Jade Hovey. Dribbling in, height advantage. Hovey finishes. 2 more. And you can see it right now. The length, the size for Indiana Wesleyan on the floor, causing some problems for Indiana Tech. 4-0 start to the fourth quarter. Moorer. Baseline. Good defense from Hovey. Wildcats, we're going to push it momentarily, now reset. Kelleher kicks to the corner, Jade Hovey, good defense from Weiss, still height mismatch, right block, and one. Jade Hovey listed at 5'10", Madison Weiss 5'6". And that's the difference underneath right there. Pretty stout defense from Weiss up until that whistle. And we've got a timeout on the floor as Avery Collins just checked in. And we'll take the break. Back in 30 seconds to the Schaefer Center. 6-0 start to the fourth quarter for IWU.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our camera. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
SummitCitySports.com live on the Indiana Tech Warrior YouTube channel. 59-53, Indiana Wesleyan leads Indiana Tech. 8 minutes and 22 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Jared Matheny for Summit City Sports. Glad you're with us. Matt Jackson running our camera on this Tuesday night. WAC Women's Volleyball Conference Tournament tomorrow night here at the Schaefer Center, 7 p.m. We'll have that for you on the YouTube channel. And then back here for a doubleheader against St. Francis Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock with women's basketball. And one free throw coming for Jade Hovey. And she connects. 7 points the lead for Indiana Wesleyan. It is the largest lead of the game for the Wildcats. Collins feeds left, more into the corner for Ritchie. Baseline pull up was deflected on the way up. Shot clock does not reset. At 7, Covington. And an offensive foul called on a moving screen against Moorer. Her third. And team foul number 2 of the quarter. Thompson dribbling against pressure. Thompson, Hovey, Grivey, and Bettinger are in there. That lay-in just didn't fall through for Thompson. Got her own board and is fouled underneath. Junior guard from Brookston, Indiana at 5'8", getting that loose ball. And Coach Biggs, I don't know if you could just hear it, but she just said, rebound, get the ball. Simple, to the point. First half lead for Indiana Tech was 7 points. It's 53 all to start this fourth quarter. Indiana Wesleyan doing what championship teams tend to do, trying to put you away in the fourth quarter. Pass off the mark, Covington finds it. Throwing it up ahead for Cruz. It is knocked out of bounds. Stays with Indiana Tech. Inbound is for goalie. Go back to Covington, leading scorer in this game after she had 16 first half points. The Wildcats have had an answer in this second half. Covington, top of the key. There she is, Taylor Covington for 3. And now up to 21 points, Jacqueline Cruz the assist. It is a 4-point game. Thompson lines up a deep triple off the heel. And a foul over the back. Going after that loose ball rebound. Foul called on Bettinger, her third, first team foul of the quarter. Mattingly is back on as Grivey exits at 6:50 in the fourth. Ritchie, baseline, great pass inside the goalie, and it's back to a 2-point game. Quick 5-0 spurt from Indiana Tech. Jade Hovey down to Addie Hovey, just too big underneath. And a new career high for Addie Hovey, she's got 18. Ritchie, foot in the ground. That could have been a reach in. Finds Collins. She drives. Missed it. O-board. Goalie. Another chance. Loose ball grabbed by Addie Hovey. Who else? Coach Whaley calling from the sideline what he wants to go to here. Shot clock to 15. Offensive foul. Addie Hovey a little bit too physical with Jacqueline Cruz underneath trying to create space. It's been a great matchup. Cruz, it can get physical herself on the inside. Hovey called for her first, team foul number 2. Indiana Wesleyan fans don't agree. Goalie facing up. Covington, left wing 3 is down, back to a 1-point game. And all of a sudden, Indiana Tech with the response. An 8-2 run. Let her go by, missed the lay-in though. Warriors can take the lead on this possession. Pass off the mark, but was deflected out of bounds. Clock stops 4:43 to play in the fourth quarter. We're at the under 5. There is no timeout at this point because we did take a media already in this quarter. Inbound, goalie fouled right away by Hovey. Her second, team foul number 3. Covington going to the high inbound for goalie again. And got lost in the action there as that ball was just thrown away. Hovey up the floor, lays it off the glass for 2 more. Her size has been too much to handle. And it's the overall size for Indiana Wesleyan, you can tell on the floor. Ritchie, bounce pass, goalie collects, lays it through. And an Indiana Tech timeout comes with 4:11 to play in the fourth quarter. It's a 30-second timeout. Addison Weiss and Ryan Moorer coming back into the lineup. Moorer at 5'10", Weiss 5'6", Covington 5'7". Assume that goalie is still out there. She's at 5'11", and then either Cruz at 5'8" or Thomas at 5'6", but you've got Tori Thompson for IWU, 5'8". Bettinger's 5'9", Mattingly's 5'10", Kelleher's 5'10", Garber started, she's 6 foot. Krieger's 5'11". We have seen Addie Hovey at 5'10". There's just no player for Indiana Wesleyan below 5'7" on the roster. And all that size is making a difference, as Indiana Tech is just a little bit smaller than the Wildcats are when they line up. Just a little bit, but that little bit can sometimes be the biggest difference. Closing in on the final 4 minutes of action. Kelleher gave left to Thompson. Top of the key. Triple is online and good. Kelleher knocks it through, and the lead is back to 2 possessions. A lot of contact out up high. Ritchie looking for some help, finds Covington. No goalie in the game currently. And there is a reach-in foul. Team foul number 4 on Indiana Wesleyan. Two timeouts remaining for Indiana Wesleyan, just 1 for Indiana Tech. Moorer faces up. Going to her dribble move. Moorer had it blocked by Mattingly. Big stop for Indiana Wesleyan. Kelleher gets the screen, driving in on Ritchie. And Ritchie played good straight up defense on Kelleher. Moorer taking it herself, blocked by Hovey. And that'll bring goalie back into the game almost immediately for Indiana Tech. It's just, there's just too much size on the floor without goalie in. Moorer's going to come out though, and that replaces some of that size for Indiana Tech. Covington into Ritchie. 20 on the shot clock. Covington pulls, got it blocked by Hovey. Loose ball recovered. It's the Addie Hovey game right now, and then she threw it away to Weiss. Crucial offensive possession. Covington starts it, goes to goalie, top of the key. Those two are going to play back and forth, and it's a foul on Hovey. She hooked around the hip of goalie, clear as day. And it puts Indiana Tech into the bonus. See if you can see it. Watch at the elbow once this ball gets in here. After this pass from goalie, Hovey's hand hooked around the hips. And that's where the whistle comes in. And the Indiana Wesleyan fans don't agree, but it's the right call. Goalie, first free throw off the mark. One for 2 at the line for Jaden Goalie. Back to a 1-possession game. Lost the ball out of bounds, stays with Iwu. 18 on the shot clock. Kelleher, baseline, got around Covington, lays it up and in. 5-point lead for Indiana Wesleyan inside the final 2 minutes. Ritchie cruises to the bucket by herself. No help defense. Final 100 seconds. 3-point game and a great game between two potential tournament teams. Three's offline. Good box out from Weiss. There's got to be a technical foul here issue. Coach Whaley's all the way on the floor. He was to the volleyball line, and he's getting the warning now. Ritchie, baseline, bumped into, and free throws coming, even if that is a double dribble. As a head coach, you cannot be all the way out to the three-point line there. Things have gotten chippy all of a sudden down the stretch. Ritchie good on the first of 2 free throws. You don't often see coaches get that much leeway if you get that far out onto the floor. Good work by this officiating crew. I mean, in a moment like this, you don't want to see a technical foul issued against a coach. Good work by this officiating crew and not issuing it there. But you see that in the first half, it's probably a different story. Timeout taken by Indiana Wesleyan. 1 remaining. 69-68. Wesleyan leads. Just over a minute to go.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our cameras. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
(69-68), Indiana Wesleyan leads Indiana Tech with 1 minute and 1 second remaining in the fourth quarter. Warriors do have the arrow, and Indiana Tech has 1 foul to give. Both teams with 1 timeout remaining. Addie Hovey has been the go-to player tonight for Wesleyan. She's got 20 points, but Mattingly and Kelleher now with 18 and 16. They both have 4 fouls, as does Bettinger. No real foul trouble for Indiana Tech. Got a couple of players with 3, but nobody with 4. Taylor Covington leading all scorers with 24 points. And a really nice game from Jacqueline Cruz today. 11 points. She's perfect at the free throw line. 4 for 5 from the field as well. 20 on the shot clock. Indiana Wesleyan inbounds. We go inside the final minute. Covington stripped it free. Loose ball. Tech basketball. And driving inside, Kelleher had it stripped free at the last moment. .9 on the clock. Full court pressure into Covington. She goes right back to Cruz. Jade and Avi Hovey, as well as the newly minted Amy in this game, are out there now with Mattingly and Thompson. Covington the basketball. Gives to Ritchie. Shot clock to 10. Looking for some movement. Cruz kicks. Ritchie, high arcing 3 is good! Gabby Ritchie from downtown. Shot clock is off. Timeout, Indiana Wesleyan. What a shot from Gabby Ritchie. It's a 30-second timeout. The Logansport, Indiana native, with the high arcing triple that finds the bottom of the barrel. All sorts of traffic here. They're trying to go to Covington. That's who they want to get the basketball. But Ritchie says, I'll take it. And she cans it from distance. Gabby Ritchie. 18.6 on the clock. A reminder for those of you watching at home, we're not exactly synced up with the system in venue. So if the clock on your screen runs out, don't make sure you hear the horn before you start celebrating one way or the other. 18.6 in venue. Shot clock is off. Indiana Tech does have a foul to give. And a 2-point lead for the Warriors as Gabby Ritchie hits the high arcing triple. Kelleher to inbound. And a whistle away from the basketball. That is the 4th team foul on Indiana Tech. And Coach Biggs just said not there. They were thinking about using that foul they had to give, or could give in this scenario. Used it a little bit earlier than they wanted. Inbound to Thompson. She goes right back. Kelleher nearly lost it. Loose ball. Jump ball. Arrow favors Indiana Tech. Jacqueline Cruz makes another big play, jumping on the floor after that ball. Trying to isolate against Covington here. This is the matchup they like. Just got poked free, and then Cruz got on the floor after the basketball. 11.6. And Indiana Tech's going to take a timeout, advance this ball to midcourt with the timeout. And it is a 30-second, no, make it a full timeout for Indiana Tech. So full timeout, you can take a seat if you want. Indiana Wesleyan choosing not to take a seat here. And they'll go through their defensive strategy to try and force a turnover. Turnover is the story of this game coming in. And at halftime, Indiana Tech was +3 in the turnover department. That's where they stand currently. 11 turnovers compared to 14 for Indiana Wesleyan. Some Wildcat fans not liking the foul discrepancy, but 16 total fouls on Indiana Tech, 21 on Indiana Wesleyan. There is a bit of a difference there, but it's not as drastic as it might feel when you're in venue. Hovey with 20 points on 9 of 14 shooting. Covington, 24 points for Indiana Tech. Ritchie's into double figures with that last made three. Before that last made triple, she was 1 of 7 in the game from beyond three-point range. But her job is to shoot the three-pointer. And you've got to have a kid out there who shoots threes, who is never afraid to take the shot. Like a pure shooter. Even if it's not falling down that night, I got to be comfortable to take it any given moment. And Gabby Ritchie's comfortable to shoot from the outside any opportunity she gets. And she hit a big one. Cruz looking to inbound. Goes to Ritchie. Back to Cruz. And the foul with exactly 9 seconds left. Jacqueline Cruz headed to the free throw line with a chance, really, to put this game in a really tough spot, at least, for Indiana Wesleyan. Neither team has a timeout. Here's Jacqueline Cruz. Career numbers at the free throw line. She was 76% last year. Didn't get the friendly pop. She had been perfect at the line today before that miss. It is a three-point game, though. 9 seconds to go. Kelleher feeds out left. Mattingly gets an open look. Missed it. Putback doesn't go. And number 17, Indiana Tech, has a top 10 win. And for the first time ever, the Warriors win in Fort Wayne over Indiana Wesleyan. How about that for a Tuesday night victory for head coach Jesse Biggs and company? Gabby Ritchie hits the clutch shot for the Warriors. Let's check it out one more time on this possession. Shot clock down to 4, and it was number 4 who knocks down the 3 and gives Indiana Tech a 2-point lead. Warriors go 1 of 2 at the line, go up by 3. And that is all she wrote. Gabby Ritchie with the big-time three-pointer. And Indiana Tech able to knock off Indiana Wesleyan 72-69, your final score. And the Warriors are going to sit down out here and talk things over. And we'll try to catch up with some of the Warriors before Saturday's game against St. Francis. But a top 10 victory for Indiana Tech over Indiana Wesleyan, 72-69, your final score. Taylor Covington with 24 points for the Warriors. Jacqueline Cruz, 12 points, but it was Gabby Ritchie with a big three late. Money from beyond the arc. And Indiana Tech improves to 2-1 on the year and gets a top 10 victory for Coach Biggs and company. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for women's volleyball in the quarterfinals as Indiana Tech in the WAC tournament. And then we will be back here again Saturday, St. Francis, 1-3 doubleheader. We'll see you then. Summit City Sports and Indiana Tech Warriors on YouTube. Thanks for watching tonight. Warriors win 72-69.
Want to know the difference between dreaming and doing? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior. Want to know what it means to be a Warrior? Yeah, pretty much everything. Visit Indiana Tech and walk a mile in a Warrior's shoes.
Welcome to the Summit City, home to the 260's dedicated high school athletes and fans. Each victory and celebration captured by our camera. Treasure the highlights from the Summit Athletic Conference this season, or complete games live or on demand. After all, nobody's more proud to call Fort Wayne home than SummitCitySports.com.
From the first day, I felt very welcome at Indiana Tech.
I just really enjoy the classes and the vibe I get from all the other athletes and just the students here. Everybody's cool and everybody gets along really well.
I'm currently a senior, and since my freshman year, student life activities have really grown throughout campus, and there's so many ways that you can meet new people. You can go bowling, you can watch movies, and it's just really important to get involved on campus.
We have intramurals, anything from billiards to basketball. It's made student life very enjoyable.
I love Fort Wayne because there's always something going on, like festivals. I walk a bunch of the trails here locally. There's great restaurants. There's always something fun to do. You can never be bored here in Fort Wayne.
The school spirit at Indiana Tech is epic. It's everything. We had our first annual hockey game not too long ago. Everybody showed up, face paint, cowbells, Trojan hats, lawn gnomes. It was amazing. It makes it so worthwhile to be a Warrior. Go Warriors.
You want to know what's possible at Indiana Tech? Visit Indiana Tech and see what it's like to be a Warrior.